take off and go. And anytime you go outside during this radiological emergency, whether it's to evacuate or just to go outside for some other purpose, you should be always wearing a mask, a particulate mask, which you can buy lots of different places and keep lots handy, enough for everybody in your home. You should also completely cover yourself. You can take grocery bags and put them on your shoes, and little coverings, little hooded coverings that you can put over your clothes. One thing that that you also need are all different size baggies and garbage bags, so that you can put everything in there that's radioactive and get it away from you. Flashlights and batteries, and importantly, while we live in a community where we are always exposed to Limerick's radiation, it's important to take the kinds of supplementation which can help your body repair itself from radioactive assaults. And we have lists of those from nutritional experts and from physicians and scientists and so forth on our website under the emergency preparedness section, where there are all kinds of suggestions from those experts on what you might start to take now and what you should probably have in your sheltering in place or evacuation. One thing for sure is you need the first aid kit with all the kinds of medications and supplies that you might think about having. And one thing, once you put your medications in that first aid kit, it's important to remember that you need to replace these when recycle them. Take the older ones out and use them and put the newer ones in from time to time. So that becomes a really important part. The other thing that's really important is in a Limerick emergency, the food, the water, you should first of all plan to go at least 50 miles away. And tell your family and friends where you plan to go, because that's some of the worst things in an emergency, that your family doesn't know where you are. So have a predestined location and make sure that if you're taking pets with you, that place accepts pets, so that your family knows where you are. Let everybody know that, and collect all your information about their cell phone numbers, their email addresses, and so forth, because you could be that you'd have no cell service or so forth immediately, but you'd want to get a hold of those people later. You should have it written down, because your cell phone might not work and they may be somewhere where you could call them from another location. So to gather those things and keep that with your emergency supply things is really an important thing for your peace of mind should something happen. The other thing about that is the food. If there'd be a Limerick emergency, the food could be very much radioactive and contaminated, as it is in Japan, even as far away as Tokyo, 140 miles from Fukushima. So there are things you can soak your food in to try to reduce the risk, the radioactive risk from that. The bentonite clay is helpful for radiation, heavy metals, and other things to soak your fruits and vegetables. So that's one thing. Another thing that you might want to think about. Is there anything else?
Actually, two thoughts. You just triggered them. You really need to make sure that people know what the destination is. You need to have your communications plans, and you need to update them. We just had a situation recently where we had a telephone number that was no longer viable or in service. So you want to regularly review the communications plans, in addition to having current cell phone numbers for people and emails for people. And you mentioned having a destination, agreed upon destination. Doesn't matter which route you take to get there, people know where they're going to be. And it's important to make sure you have some cash. Cash money is, Yogi Berra used to refer to it as. Some people recommend $100, some people recommend more, because
put it in your box and forget you have it.
Exactly.
Put it in your box and pretend you don't even have that money.
Right.
It is important to have something when you go away. One thing I wanted to tell you that It's also important to recognize radiation sickness symptoms, which are very much like you have the flu: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, things like that, headache. And that's in the first hour to 24 hours. Then when you get into the first week to 4 weeks, it gets into dizziness and disorientation, weakness, fatigue, hair loss, bloody vomit, infections, poor wound healing, and low blood pressure. So those are some of the things. And when you get away from here, you may want to go to a physician, but having these supplements, even with aloe vera, things like that, to help your stomach, because breathing the radiation in, so the radioactive particulates are the worst way you can be exposed to this stuff. You breathe it in, goes into your lungs, and then it gets out into your bloodstream, and it keeps assaulting your organs, and especially your stomach is vulnerable. So those are some things to think about. Powerful immune enhancers are good to take now and when you go away. Kelp, iodine, low-level iodine are good things to take.
One other thought I had is to keep your vehicle or vehicles as close to filled with gas as possible. Most experts recommend you don't let them get below a half tank. You want to be sure that you can drive far enough away that you don't have to sit in a huge line waiting for gasoline to refill your tank. That's one less thing to worry about.
And we've prepared these workshops, and we're encouraging people to call us. We're happy to do it. If you have other questions, we'd be glad to try to answer them. But you can go to our website, and under the emergency preparedness section, we've collected a lot of information that you can. The reason we've done it is because there are emergency planning things. And for example, Chester County put together this fabulous wheel, which you turn it and it talks about earthquakes and floods and hurricanes and everything. There's nothing about a Limerick emergency or a radiological emergency on here. And there are a lot of different communities bordering Limerick that are in Chester County. We believe that people need to think differently about a radiological emergency from Limerick than they do about the earthquake and the hurricane. But you can get all the information you want on that on website www.readypa.org, and also you can have yourself put on a readynotifypa.org list so that it will contact your cell phone should there be an emergency of any kind. But so that's another idea. Was there something else?
Do you have any final thoughts about what people need to put into their plan or their little wheelie carts at this moment?
Anything valuable to you, because you may never get back here again. You know, if you have a radiological emergency, you have to look at it that maybe you can never return safely to your home. And don't listen to what NRC and these other people tell you when they say it's safe, because they have weakened standards to such a degree that it's just shocking and it's alarming, and you should not come back into it regardless of what they tell you to do.
When we're going to take another short break, and what you should see on your screen is information about the plan and workshops. And when we return, Nick and Donna will do a wrap-up and have some final thoughts for you on this critically important topic.
Everybody, welcome back. It's Nick Lawrence again, and I'm back here with Donna Cuthbert. Now, Donna, before we end our show tonight, let's talk a little bit about some of the conclusions that people can do to take action now.
Well, there are some very important specific things people need to do. One thing they have to remember is we need to prevent a meltdown. The only way we can prevent the meltdown is to close Limerick. So we're asking people to call or email us All we need, your name, your phone number, your email address. Add your name to the petition to close Limerick. That's number one. When you talk to candidates and elected officials, which you will be doing probably in the next couple months, ask them if they will help you to get Limerick closed, yes or no. Because if you recall, during the 24-day delay, those officials were notified within 40 hours, and none of them contacted us or let the public know what was going on about the radioactive spill at Limerick. We need to hold them accountable. They need to be accountable. They need to help us get this closed, as officials are doing in other states. So we need to get them on board. And the only way that'll happen is if you ask them about it and make it a campaign issue.
So public officials actually do have the power to get this closed.
We can't get it closed without them.
Okay, so I mean that's important for people to understand. I mean they represent us, folks. You don't have a direct voice to change that. So they do represent us. So that's why it's important for people to contact them.
It's extremely important. Mm-hmm. Candidates too. Candidates
right, exactly. and
that person that's going to be on your side about this is the one you want to vote for. It is really critical. And the other thing is, remember, family emergency planning will help you reduce your radioactive risks should there be a Limerick emergency. It's about your family, it's about their health, and it is vital for you to not get panicked, but get prepared. Start to collect these things. It doesn't all have to be done in one day. We collected all this over years. So start today, though. The sooner you get started, the better.
The ACE petition that you have, is that on the website as well? Can people
Yes.
get to the ACE petition? Because I think you want people to get involved with that, right?
Yes, that's on the website, but they don't even have to go to the petition. They can just send us their name and just email us and say close Limerick. That's it. It can be that simple.
So any final thoughts before we leave tonight?
Just that I think that getting prepared is a way of having peace of mind, and while we're trying to get Limerick closed, it is vital for you to get prepared.
Thank you, Donna. Folks, I want to wrap this up just by saying, first of all, you want to go to the acereport.org. That's where all the information is. You have to be proactive for yourself. acereport.org, and it's now time for you to start your family emergency plan. You know, one of the things when I was listening to what Donna was saying about how people can prepare themselves was, I'm thinking that information can scare you. And sometimes that information means if you get scared, you're not going to deal with it. You can put your head in the sand if you choose to do that. I could do the same thing if I chose to do that. But you know that is not the answer, is it? Don't be afraid of what the potential could be. Take action to protect ourselves from what the possibilities could be. If nothing happens, you don't have to worry about it. All you do is prepare. But if something does happen, you're certainly going to be happy that you did prepare. I'm going to be happy that I prepared. Thanks for tuning in tonight, folks, here on the ACE Report. This is Nick Lawrence. We'll see you the next time right here.